Greetings again, everybody. Welcome back to Dark Souls. We pretty much finished most of what the game has to offer, but we're not going to go to the final boss yet. Instead, we're going to do some optional stuff.
Well, hello again. I have finally located my father. All of your help was invaluable to us. Thank you so much. I was finally able to pass on my mother's last words. My father, he went on his final adventure. Don't worry, that's just the way he is, undead or no. Sort of reassuring, really. He goes hollow. I'll just have to kill him again.
This time, we are going to wrap up the side quest, namely Sigmayr's and Logan's. Even though we just talked to Sieglinde, let's actually start with Logan's. Now, to actually finish Logan's side quest, we need to buy all spells from him. So, let's do just that.
Oh, there you are. It's been a while. Or were you just here? This fascinating place defeats my sense of time.
Normally, when we buy everything an NPC has to offer, they go hollow and attack us somewhere. Logan, well, he doesn't go hollow, and he has to offer some of the best spells in the game. So there's really no harm in getting them.
Come again. The knowledge here is limitless. I would absorb it, then share it with you. Who are you? Stay clear of my work. Curses upon you! How dare you disturb me!
Logan seems a little bit confused here, but that's about understandable if you consider that he's been studying the research that has driven a dragon insane. Ah well, let's get back to where we fought said dragon first and... Yes, see, I said Logan doesn't go hollow. He does go insane though, and... drops all his clothes. We can see he's not hollow because his skin is still normal. It would be reddish or black, or rather it would be very dark if he were hollow. He's not hollow. The reason he is naked is... well, the developers have said that he wanted to be more like Seath, which is a dragon without scales, so this is now a sorcerer without clothes. That makes sense. And yeah, they didn't want him to get rid of the hat, because the hat is actually his distinguishing feature and they were afraid people wouldn't be able to tell it was him otherwise. But in this encounter, Logan uses a spell. You saw it already. It's a little, kind of a laser beam that goes along the ground and produces some crystals. It's that one. It is the White Dragon's Breath. And we killed him with a Fire Tempest, which we got after talking to Quelana when we beat the Bed of Chaos. And we also get the White Dragon Breath from him. Now, the White Dragon Breath is a spell we won't be able to use because it requires a ton of intelligence, but we saw how it works already. It's not a very good spell. Crystal Soul Spear is much better. And back where we saw Logan last in a non-hostile state, we get his entire clothes. And his catalyst. We also got the Tin Crystallization Catalyst, which greatly increases the power of our magic but helps our sorcery uses. Now you might wonder why we are down at Ash Lake. Well, the end of Sigmayr's questline is here, and up ahead we actually already see a familiar silhouette. And we see another familiar silhouette on the ground. This looks like a depressing scene that has already been foreshadowed.
My father, all hollow now. He's been subdued. He will cause no more trouble. It's finally over. I will return to Katarina. You assisted us both greatly. I can hardly return the favor, but please accept this. It's of no use to me now. Oh, Father. dear father.
That's quite depressing. But I think there's also some kind of morbid beauty to the scene, don't you agree? Now, what could I do to improve this scene? I wonder. This is the Dark Hand. The heavy one-handed attack, instead of acting as a shield, actually will suck the humanity out of one NPC. A lot of the time, they don't even go hostile.
Yes, now I see. You are one of the bad ones. Then there's only one thing to do with you.
You may call what I'm doing here murder. I call it mercy. Anyway, the important part is that Sieglinde doesn't really act any different from your normal NPCs, so you could just go on ahead and kill her. At this point, we don't really have any use for any of the NPCs anymore, so you could just kill them all. If we were so inclined. Alright, that's that. There is still more for us to do, though. There's one rather big thing we still need to attend to. So let's get to it. It's been a while since we've been to Anor Londo, home of the gods and giants, and of course, the place where Gwyn resided back in his days. Now, you might remember this spinning platform here. Now, we didn't really spin it all the way down, now did we? So let's actually go on ahead and do that. We could have done this way earlier, of course, in fact, as soon as we had come here. But we need a certain item to actually progress if we are at the bottom there. Of course we can have that by the point we're in Anor Londo, but my usual progression through the game kind of prevents that from happening. Now you might remember that Gwyn had 3 children, or rather 3 children that we know of. Guinevere, which we already saw, then Gwyndolin, which we didn't see yet, and then there's also Gwyn's firstborn son, who is so elusive that he may or may not be in the game, depending on your personal interpretation. But let's get into that maybe a little bit later. Not now, though. Oh sweet, Ring of the Sun's Firstborn. Let's read the description. Oh well, we knew that already. And hey, what's this? We picked that up down in the catacombs, right? Why not wear it? Can't possibly do any harm. And yeah, wearing that ring actually opens that path. And honestly, I'm not really sure how you're supposed to know that, but there's probably a hint somewhere I missed.
Halt! This is the tomb of the great Lord Gwyn. Tarnished it shall not be by the feet of men. If thou art a true disciple of the Dark Sun, cast aside thine ire. Hear the voice of mine self, Gwyndolin, and kneel before me. O disciple of the Dark Sun, thou hast journeyed far. Hear my voice. If thou shalt swear by the covenant to become a shadow of Father Gwyn and Sister Guinevere, a blade that shall hunt the foes of our lords, then I shalt protect thee, safeguarding thy person with the power of the Dark Moon. Very well. Now thou art a blade of the Dark Moon, hunteth the enemies of the lords by the power of the Dark Sun.
By joining the Dark Moonblade Covenant, we have now become a spirit of vengeance. And to level up the Covenant, we need Souvenirs of Reprisal, which we get for successfully invading someone as a Darkmoon Blade, and also for killing the Harpies in the Painted World. So now, let's invade someone actually, and equip the Covenant ring to do so. Much like the Forest Hunter Covenant, this can be worn anywhere. And usually, you don't even have to wait that long to invade someone. We're now a Blue Phantom and we're in a somewhat darker version of Anor Londo. I wonder what's up with that. Certainly looks different. Now this is a rather popular PvP area. People will often just wait here to be invaded by Blue Phantoms of the Darkmoon Blade Covenant. Now the Darkmoon Blades, they invade the worlds of sinners. Essentially, they are people who have killed NPCs, the sinners I mean, or they have, well, invaded someone as a Red Phantom and got indicted. You can buy indictments from Oswald, and if you have an indictment and you get invaded by a Red Phantom, or any Phantom for that matter, if you feel that the fight was unfair in any way, or that he just tried to troll you, well, you can use an indictment and indict the player who invaded you. And then he will have to deal with Blue Phantoms such as our humble self. Now that guy's using Power Within, by the way. It's not a good strategy in PvP. It usually will result in the invader to just turtle until the Power Within expires, but I decided to go aggressive, and yeah, you can see how that's working out for me. Rather good, actually. And yeah, he died from Power Within. Still, a bow for the guts. Now, of course, for winning an invasion, we get a Souvenir of Reprisal, which we need to level up the Covenant, as we already know. And we got something rather nice, of course, for leveling it up. Now, next invasion. Never forget the etiquette. Come on. There. Now that guy's using the Life Hunt Scythe. It's kind of a popular strategy in PvP. The Life Hunt Scythe has the strongest bleeding effect in the entire game. And the Gold Tracer as well has a pretty strong bleeding effect, which is what that guy was using. Another important thing we're seeing here is that while you're invading, another one can invade as well, and you can team up on whoever. I was kind of hoping that he would wait until the fight was over, until either I won or I get killed, in which case he would have had the honor of actually finishing the fight. But hey, that's how it goes. Time for one more, I guess. Now, we did use the Darkmoon Covenant ring. One important thing about the Darkmoon Covenant ring is that it specifically summons us to this here area, this kind of darkened version of Anor Londo. There's also the blue orb which we got. We can use that to invade in other areas, not any other area, but some specific ones, so we can actually invade the worlds of sinners outside of Anor Londo. Now, to get what I want to show you from the Darkmoon Covenant, we need 10 Souvenirs of Reprisal. This one should be the last we need, because we already got some from other fights, and of course from Harpies in the Painted World. But hey, and that's it. Let's give these Souvenirs of Reprisal to Gwyndolin.
Welcome back, Blade of the Dark Moon. If mine power be needed, I shall assist thee.
And as usual, we have to give each of the Covenant items one by one. But I'm a nice person, I'm not gonna show you all that. But yeah, we get the Darkmoon Talisman, which is another talisman, and the Darkmoon Blade. It is a miracle, and it just happens to be the strongest weapon buff in the game. Now let's just test it out real quick, we won't get much opportunity to use it otherwise. We can only use it as long as we are a member of the Dark Moon Covenant, by the way. But hey, this should tear those apart. One-handed attack, 3 hits. Yup, that's pretty good. This is a longsword type weapon, which means it wouldn't do that much damage even on a, well, on a high level to those guys. But it actually tears them apart well enough. Of course, sadly, it still doesn't go through shields. Now, I have this feeling to appreciate this covenant, we should actually now go a little bit more into the lore of it. Like, here. Gwyndolin, not aware of her repulsive, frail appearance, created the illusion of a sister. Illusion of a sister Guinevere? Oh. Hey, let's check that out. If this girl here isn't real, she shouldn't mind that too much. Oh, okay, she doesn't actually. Let's aim better this time.
Thou that tarnisheth the Godmother's image, I am Gwyndolin. And thy transgression shall not go unpunished. Thou shalt perish in the twilight of Anor Londo.
So this is what you have to do to get your Anor Londo so dark. Now, there's a few things that change. For one, there's those 2 enemies here. They don't respawn. And that's pretty much all of it. Yeah. That one is a baller knight, or rather he's dressed up like one, and the other one is dressed up like a knight of Berenice, which is these, well, those steel guys. Of course, since I'm a smart person, I only aggroed one of them. That guy can parry though, so look out for that. It nearly took me out here. Individually, those 2 are easy to fight though. And oh look, someone invaded us. It's not a Spirit of Vengeance, not a blue phantom. It's a red one, and I have no idea where exactly it is. It probably spawned way back at the bonfire. Or it didn't. Yeah, it didn't really. But hey, there is one more thing we will have to look out for should we actually quote-unquote kill Guinevere, because that Guinevere we saw up there, she's not real. She's just an illusion, but there is a real Guinevere somewhere out there. It's just not her.
So it was you, was it? How dare you produce a blade upon a deity? How did you ever get this far? I shall end your suffering here and now. It is the least that I can do.
And Lady of the Darkling is loyal to Gwyndolin, and she's using the Dark Moon Blade as well as a parrying dagger. And whenever she holds it up, you should really not attack her, because she will parry if you do that, and you don't want that to happen.
But how? This is a threat, Master Gwyndolin.
And now, since she was the Firekeeper, we can't use that first bonfire in Anor Londo anymore. We can still warp to it though. But anyway, I think it is about time that we confront Gwyndolin now.
Heretic. First thou offendest the Godmother, and now thou see fit to trample upon the tomb of the great Lord. I am the Dark Sun, Gwyndolin. Let the atonement for thy felonies commence.
Gwyndolin was born as the son of Gwyn, a Lord of Sunlight, but raised as a woman because his powers were affiliated to the moon, which apparently means that he has to be raised as a female. I am not sure how that all makes sense, but still. Gwendolyn is a pretty unique boss actually. He will shoot arrows at us from a distance occasionally and also throw magic at us. But there's one thing, well, he will teleport every time we get close. So in order to actually damage him, you will have to, well, attack him during an attack animation. You can also attack him while he's teleporting away, of course. But the best way to actually hit him is to wait for him to shoot arrows. Because, well, that takes a lot of time to cool down from. Also, the big magic balls he will shoot at you, they will actually go through those little, well, pillars on the sides. Those small ones, though, you can take cover from. Still, it's best to just dodge roll wildly if they come at you. And of course, once he shoots arrows at you, just charge towards him. Try to dodge the arrows, but try to gain some ground. If you're lucky, you will be able to get quite a few hits in that way. At least that's my preferred strategy. Obviously, you will also have to bring a shield with high magic resistance to make things a little easier. I'm using the Cleansing Great Shield here, though if you feel like it, you can also use Havel's shield. Of course, only if you have the strength to actually wield it effectively. And then there's also the Crest Shield, which should work just nice, and you also have some other options. This long hallway, by the way, is not infinite, it'll end eventually.
Oh, heretic, swathed in dark, an eternal curse upon thee.
When Gwendolyn speaks of an eternal curse, he means it. We are now marked for invasions until the end of the game. So though, now we killed him, and let's inspect the tomb of the great Lord Gwyn. That up ahead is his coffin, presumably. He's not in there though, it's a symbolic tomb. And of course you get a few rewards, like empty chests. But we also get the Sunlight Blade, which is another weapon buff, but it actually gives us lightning damage, which is weird that lightning is well, the property of the Sunlight Blade. Anyway, now we just killed the last remaining deity of Anor Londo. What is there left to do? Ah, I have an idea.
What is it, fool? Driven to madness by emotion? You'll make a fine follow. You can waltz in the infernal depths together.
So then we killed almost everyone. Unfortunately, I forgot to kill Ingward. And this bird here proves to be really sturdy. Apparently, he can't be killed. He'll just fly away. And a little while later, he will be there again like nothing ever happened. Anyway though, we forgot Ingward, but there's one very important person we should not forget to talk to now. So let's actually quickly warp there. Because I think he'll like what we did. Ozzy.
Good tidings. Thou art welcome. Laudable is thy dedication to sin. Hast thou acquaintance with Petrus of Thurmond? I wager you two has likely found much in common. For is he not too drenched in sin? Thou art welcome anytime. It is only human to commit a sin. Thou hast made thyself clear, and thou leavest me no choice. I shall accept thy confession. In the hereafter.